Hey, Paul, Joe. I enjoyed the practice you guys had last on Monday. Got to watch it a little bit. Was with the U12 some of the time, but I figured I'd film a quick video. You guys know what to do, and you don't have to use this, but this kind of popped in my head as it might be helpful. Of probably a second practice that I might consider doing with the U14. I thought the circle game went really well. Wanted to emphasize 4 versus 2 and 5 versus 3 are the optimal numbers on that game, and you guys can join in if you need to make numbers and then pull yourself out when somebody shows up. But anyways, just a reminder that those are the optimal numbers for the circle game. Something I thought you might try. I used to do partner passing a lot more, but I've kind of switched once I've got passing technique introduced into doing 3 to 4 man passing more, because in the 3 to 4 man passing, you get them catching a ball and then transitioning from a catch into a pass. So it's a little bit more game-like. So you might try doing that instead of just partner passing. 3 guys stationary in a line. I think I have a video on that. I do have a video on that in the YouTube channel. But that way, basically, you have the same passing technique that you emphasized last time. Hands and elbows, I find I've kind of condensed it this year. I kind of transitioned to those 2 cues. Hands means fingers pointing down, palms towards your guy, and elbows means elbows bent, elbows out. And if those 2 cues kind of fix pretty much everything. So hands and elbows, and then with the catch early, you're kind of working the middle guy. So if you have 3 guys or 4 guys, you get 2 guys in the middle, and then they switch out. And then 1 guy, if it's 3, it's 1 guy in the middle, and then they switch out. So it is a little bit more in terms of rotating them and making sure everybody gets a turn in the middle. But that way you can work on them catching early and transitioning from a catch into elbows out and then a pass, and it'll translate better. What I find is if you just do partner passing and then you go to L drill, there'll be a lot of issues with guys catching it, like at the middle of their body, and then reloading and passing, and you haven't actually drilled that component, and it makes for a little bit of extra work. Whereas this progression where you're working on the catch into the pass transitions more smoothly. So anyways, and then L drill, which looked really good. It's like the best U14 has looked on a first day of practice for the L drill. So just they're good. They're getting pretty decent at that. Making sure they're doing the same form. And then I thought you'd probably have time for 2v1s, that triangle version. 2 guys here, 1 guy here. He tosses the ball, and they start running. Lots of reps. I think they should be ready for that, and you can move pretty quickly through this, I think. Contact. I found this to be a really good kind of first day of breakdown, which might be worth doing. It still has tackling in it, so you aren't losing the tackling. You could do another day just all on tackling again. It's similar to your last one, maybe adding in a drill. But I thought maybe you'd want to introduce breakdown. It just gives you more freedom to do more stuff if the kids know the breakdown. Anyways, ruck unders, definitely start with ruck unders. Those are golden. And I think both progressions, starting first with the guys with just fingertips touching the ground, and then secondly with them in that bear crawl position to force the kids to go really low. I've got that video of ruck unders is on the drive. So just, getting them, really emphasizing them getting underneath, winning the shoulder battle, and them forming that muscle memory. And then this drill is not on the drive, but this is my new favorite rucking drill. It's the simplest. I think it's the best one, so I'll explain it. And Paul, and I think Joe also, you guys have done this in a men's practice. You just set up 3 cones in like an L shape, like this. You have your runner standing with the ball, and the tackler is on his knees, just like the tackling on the knees drill, and is like 4 or 5 feet away from him, really close. And then the rucker is lying on the ground right next to this guy. So if this guy's standing right here, the rucker's lying right here, kind of head this way, feet this way. Okay? Lying on the ground. And as soon as the runner runs at the tackler, the rucker pops to his feet. The runner gets tackled by the tackler, goes to ground and places correctly. The rucker, the first thing we want to coach them on is that kind of hold position where they get and they grab onto the shorts and the shoulder and hold there with their eyes up, making sure they have a good kind of tall position. Hands are up here, okay, and their eyes are up. The tackler, his job is to tackle, roll away, get to his feet, come back through the gate, and counter ruck. And I love pairing ruck unders with this because you can tell the tackler he's going to do exactly what he just did in the ruck unders. Once he rolls around, he gets up, he comes back, so he's going north-south through the gate, and he's just going to try to swim under and get his shoulder underneath the shoulders of the offensive rucker and try to blow him off. And the rucker, what he's going to do is he's holding here, he's eyes up, and the second that guy comes in, he's dropping his shoulders, denying him access to his sternum, and kind of staying locked in there. And the one thing you'll want to emphasize is that if this is the shoulders and these are the hips, when he drops down, he just drops shoulder and hips down, so his back stays flat, and not shoulders down, butt way up, because they'll get called for diving over there. But dropping down, and then there's a little bit of a fight, and then you rotate. And potentially with your U14 guys, this might be perfect, and you just do that for the whole time. But you might want to progress it I'll progress this by having a second cone here and a second cone here, having another defender and another rucker. Okay, and you can manipulate the places where the cones are if you want to have, like if you could put the defensive rucker over here so he's late to the party, or you could have him close so you can challenge. But basically you just make it now it's 2 ruckers and on the offense and 2 defensive ruckers. And so it's 2v2. And the thing that you will notice is this makes it a lot more competitive because this defensive rucker, he can be there to challenge. So I will then start to coach my offensive ruckers. The first guy who gets to the breakdown has to decide. If you're there early before the defender, you latch on and hold. But if you're arriving at the same time as the defender, you get rid of him. Just target his sternum like the ruck unders and blow him away. So sometimes your faster rucker will get there and hold, and you'll have 2 guys holding. And sometimes your faster rucker will blow off this guy. The second runner will get locked in and get tested by this tackler. And both of those are good. Both of those are fine. Okay. So that's for the contact portion. And then numbers, I would tend to say do numbers down, touch again, at least for one more practice. For the numbers, I didn't get to watch you guys as much for that one, but it seemed like it, from the little glances, that it went well. Just prioritizing the offense is successful, but it's not too easy, and the defense can hold, but the offense does score with a fair amount of consistency. So whether that's 4 defenders versus 8 offense, 5 versus 7, 10 offense versus 6, whatever works. Right for that, and just manipulate the numbers so it's not too easy for either side, but the offense is scoring with a fair amount of consistency when they play well. And then I've just been doing second ball, which means anytime a mistake happens, I just give a second ball to a new player. That just eliminates, there's no scrums, there's no taps, it just makes things flow a lot quicker. I kind of like that at the beginning of the year just because you don't have to reset as much, although at some point they've obviously got to learn line out, scrums, penalty taps and stuff, so up to you guys. And then rules, something I noticed with the U12, I don't know what your guys were like, but I noticed a big issue with players passing while they're standing still, and they were a little young, and so I just kind of told them to try. I focused on telling them to run hard, and I didn't want to start penalizing them too soon, but the U14 might be ready. And something like that would be like a good rule. Like if you pass the ball standing still, it's an automatic turnover. Like offense instantly loses. You have to be running in order to pass. You can just kind of pick bad habits, or if you have guys who are running in front, they get the ball, and instead of passing to the guy outside him, they run in front of him around to the outside. You can make that a turnover too. Anyways, those are just some thoughts about rules. But anyways, I think that's what I would do, and I think that practice would work really well. Cheers, fellas.